And welcome back inside the cave on this Tuesday morning. And at 7:25 on Tuesdays, that means Tom Crawford is with us. And Tom, you decided to take 6 weeks off, as I did, but yours was for a little bit different reason. Some of our listeners probably don't know why you've been off the air, but fill us in a little bit, Tom.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly, going to Club Med for a vacation, I mean, I've had cancer surgery in my upper jaw. I was in this 25 percentile of people either don't drink, don't smoke, don't chew tobacco, but you get it. It's been a battle. I had 90 lymph nodes removed. I still have a long recovery to go. I had to take a fibula bone out of my leg to rebuild my jaw. And so that was February 19th that I had the surgery. I have another surgery on June 10th to remove my thyroid because that caused cancer in one of my lymph nodes. But after that, from my understanding, I'll be completely cancer-free and ready for football season and ready to be sitting next to you in the press box at Michigan Stadium. So actually, quite frankly, the fact they discovered it early, I'm a lucky, lucky guy, Pat.
Boy, you certainly are. And Tom, we know a lot of folks were right behind you and giving you a lot of encouragement. And let's go get this.
Oh my God, Pat! I mean, you really don't realize your support group until you really need them.
Exactly.
And I have a pretty decent following on Facebook with especially a lot of Michigan fans and people here in Greater Lansing and with our expanding role in YouTube channel with Wing My Sports podcast, and the outrage was unbelievable. I got a video a clip from that Dusty May sent me the day before my surgery that was encouraging. Tom Izzo sent me a couple of texts. It's all my all my peer groups from different phases of my life. When I would get down. And a couple of nights in the hospital, they were very painful. I just looked at my phone, and they got me through it. So my love to all those folks.
Well, Tom, let's talk Michigan sports. Of course, the Wolverines, the basketball team in the Sweet 16. Very convincing win over Texas A&M, 91-79. And going to be facing Auburn here in the Sweet 16. And give us your impressions of the last from the Big Ten tournament on up until right now.
Yeah, you can go back a couple weeks ago this past Sunday in the Michigan State game. I think you and I were texting about that, like what the hell is going wrong with this team? And that was pathetic first half, but they got better in the second half. But from the Big Ten tournament on, as you said, it's just been a juggernaut. They had 2 killer practices that week. They refocused, and all of a sudden, you have L.J. Kaysen, a freshman, come on, looking like Karis LeVert, and then Roddy Gale, who's had a struggle all year, pretty much, for the most part, 26 points in this effort against A&M. A really good team on you, and they're already in the Sweet 16. I mean, part of me can't believe it. They have 27 wins. They had 8 wins last year. And they're 2 wins away from the Final Four. Now, Auburn is going to be a daunting task. We know that. But if they don't turn the ball over, Pat, they can beat anybody. With their unique style, I really think so. And they're a tough matchup, so who knows what's going to happen.
Well, Roddy Gale, as you said, really came to life. Did somebody from Texas A&M say something to him during the game that kind of turned him on?
Yeah, that guard, a walk. Yeah, he kind of taunted him, and I think that set him off. And basketball is a weird sport. It's a weird sport of a lot of, everybody's got these runs and goes back and forth. We saw it in so many games, but I don't know, whatever it takes to get Roddy going. Roddy's a tough guy. When I saw him at practice in the fall, I thought he was going to be the go-to guy. It never materialized, but it materialized now. And who knows what to expect on Friday night. But, hey, it's all gravy right now. And just think, Pat, there's a plausibility of Michigan, Michigan State in the Elite Eight, which would be the biggest Michigan State match of any sport, in my estimation. It would be unbelievable.
Hey, Tom, it's Jeff. Good to hear you back again as well. And, talking about this team over the weekend, and you look at L.J. Kaysen, Dusty even talked a little bit about, maybe not using him all year like he could have, the way he's played this past weekend, especially coming in and what he did against A&M coming off the bench and really kind of was a spark plug of that team. And I think that, when you can get a guy like that coming off the bench doing things, and the way Gale played too, when you show your depth and that you guys, you can have guys that step up, I think that's a big thing that can kind of spur Michigan on against this Auburn team is if you can shut somebody down, if somebody else can step up, that's when what they've been doing, on this little run from the Big Ten tournament on.
Well, yeah, I agree. That's a great point, Jeff. When I think about it, there's been some moments when the bigs have disappeared. I mean, Danny has these halves where he just doesn't do much, and sometimes, with Vlad and Danny, they look soft, and then all of a sudden they get ignited. But it was an LJ, it was a Roddy, that a Ruben Jones 3-ball that's not his forte can get this team going, and or you got Will Cheddar who walls somebody out, gets a key rebound. It's a 3. There's a lot of moving parts. It's not a super deep team. And when if they play Michigan State, it'll be depth versus, a 10-man rotation versus a 8-man rotation. And that might be a daunting task. But first things first, Auburn, I think they got a decent shot to win for all the reasons you just said. And if they can, keep those, turnovers to like an 8 or 9, and that's probably a tall task. They have a shot because they're a good rebounding team, and they're playing together, and they have a swag to them that I haven't seen all year.
Well, and you look again how they were able to play so well together late, and I think one of the things you mentioned with Auburn, they struggled a little bit down the stretch in the last few games of their regular season. But then you look at a guy like Trey Donaldson, some of the big shots he's hitting in this tournament run too. Here's a guy that was at Auburn last year and missed 2 free throws for them to get a chance to win the game and lost. I think that's a guy that, you look back at what he did last year and now he's got another chance at it, and I think he's really making the most of it.
Well, that's another great point. I mean, with this transfer portal, you're getting these crazy story scenarios, where somebody's playing like Danny Wolf will play Yale, and the other thing about the transfer portal, they start talking about these kids. I mean, there's 3 schools that these kids have gone to a lot of. It's like Namari Burnett. It's unbelievable. But Trey Donaldson could be the X factor, and boy, he is the alpha dog right now on this team. He made that one kind of left hand hook shot that went in. I don't know how it went in. That was a big bucket. That put him back up by 5 when A&M was threatening. Michigan did not finish a couple times. They could have put that game away earlier, but then they went on the run. And 12 straight points by one guy. 12 straight by Roddy Gale. 12 straight points. That's uncanny.
Tom, speaking of the transfer portal, like you said before, there's some players that could be playing for 4 different teams during their college career. Do you think we need to put some lock this down a little bit? Maybe you can only transfer once, or if the coach leaves, you can transfer in under those circumstances. Do you think we need some controls here?
Well, I go back to 2016 at the football media days. Jim Harbaugh, of all people, was the one that suggested, in his kind of, he was on pontificating just about everything that day, other than football, about the one-time transfer. And it's a good thing. And it really is. I think that's a good point. This is crazy. I mean, coaches at least are restricted by their contracts, flipping around, but players just, on a whim. So every and I'm not trying to tag this or label this generation, but maybe I am. I mean, it's always take the easy road. Don't fight for a starting position. Don't start for playing minutes. No, I'll just transfer. And I don't know who's in, Pippen's head or, Justin Pippen's head, probably his old man. of going somewhere else, well, then go. But I'm telling you what, to have the portal open when the tournament is still on, very distracting, very stupid. But I don't know who's going to control this thing. The NCAA doesn't seem to have any control over anything. So who's going to step up and build the structure? Because I don't know if it's possible.
Well, it's just like during the football season, during the playoff run, where guys had to decide whether they wanted to follow their team or get out of it with the transfer portal. So, I mean, they need some different timing of when you can, or when you have to make that move, and that's something silly on that end of it. But again, I think it's, with the portal and with NIL, people chasing the money, things are never going to be where they were before.
Well, you know what you're seeing? The losing coach of these NCAA tournament games kind of just goes off on, venting session complaining about NIL or transfer portal. Have you noticed? I mean, it's like everybody takes that moment to make their statement of disgruntlement. And I understand it completely. Everybody's frustrated. But this is where leadership in college basketball, in college football, has to evolve somewhere. I'm concerned about it. I know coaching is hard these days. Guys are just going to get out of it. It's a great product, great popularity, but man, this thing is out of control, and we're seeing it manifest. All these games, all these players playing for so many different teams.
Well, I think what you're finding too right now is that your mid majors are feeder programs now for the bigger schools, and I think that's one of the reasons you're looking at. There's not as many the Cinderella stories and the upsets going on right now, because you've got guys. When you look at Michigan, is a great example. I mean, Vlad came with his coach, and so that's why he's here. Case in the same way, but Wolf's a guy from Yale. I mean, you're taking some of the best players off of some of these mid-major teams, and then they're just scattered across, the Power Fours now, and so you lose, that top player, the depth of, those Cinderella schools are always guys that you had like. 3 or 4 guys that were 4-year starters with them, older guys. Right. And now you don't have that. These again, the mid majors, they're being now, the G League for the Power Fours.
Yeah, you're not going to see St. Peter's get to the Sweet 16 anymore. I mean, think of the Sweet 16 right now. It's just Power Four schools. There's not one mid major represented. That hasn't happened in a Cat's age, if ever. Since this whole thing started with seeding and the tournament. So that's a really good point. I think, you look at Kentucky. Kentucky is made up of their 12 guys or whatever. They got 3 freshmen and 9 transfers. Michigan, same setup. 2 rollovers from the previous team and transfers. A couple of freshmen rolled in there. So every year when we go to like media days for our local college team, it's like meet the new team. 1 through 12, 1 through 13. It's all new guys, and it's like a blank canvas. Okay, let's see what we can build this year. It's insane.
Well, same thing going on with the coaches. We're seeing a lot of coaches moving to different schools after they've been eliminated from the NCAA tournament. I think we've seen 3 or 4 coaches, right?
Yeah, and that's been the case for a while, and I get that, and there's a sad element to that, but, everyone wants to get the better job. I mean, the guy from Colorado State, who's a Minnesota grad, went to Minnesota. I understand that. West Virginia coach goes to Indiana, and a one and done. You go there 1 year and you're on to a next school. I mean, that's crazy, but anyway, it's all it's a hot mess right now.
It certainly is.
It's a hot mess, but I love March Madness. And Pat, how much I love college football. So that I will never waver on that. But I just wish they could, tweak a little bit this stuff and make it even better.
Speaking of the spring game coming up in football, it's supposed to be on the 19th. Are we still going to have that?
Yeah, Michigan is. I mean, a lot of these teams like Nebraska, Michigan State, they're fearful of their players getting poked, on training, in that post, 15 days transfer thing, or where you can go in the portal. So there's a paranoia that sets in. I think the spring football thing is a nice thing. It's a little ritual. Get together, bring the kids out, get autographs. It wets your whistle for the fall. It's really sad. Michigan's going to have they've just started the last couple of days their spring football. Bryce Underwood looks like the man out there. So all good in Ann Arbor, but we'll see what happens in the fall, because they're going to find out real quick when they go to Norman, Oklahoma, to play the Sooners, second game of the year.
What do you think of Deion Sanders' idea of having your spring practice and bringing in another team?
I saw that. I don't know. I like spring practice where kids that, there's 105 players now, scholarship players, and there used to be walk-ons, get to play in front of their families for the first time on the field. I'm not big on that. But Deion's kind of a cutting-edge guy. He tests the waters of doing things different, so that doesn't surprise me.
Tom, we're up against the clock again. Tell us how folks can get into your podcast.
Yeah, Tom's Take Community, all one word, no apostrophe. Go out to my YouTube channel. Also find me on Facebook. And I love talking Wolverines. So excited being back here on the Inside the Cave. So excited that Michigan's still relevant in March Madness, and can't wait till Friday. Can't wait till Thursday, the games, and let's just enjoy it and not worry about all these other issues, right? At least for this weekend.
There you go. Tom, it's great to have you back, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
All right, Pat, Jeff, appreciate you having me on. We'll talk soon.
All right. Tom Crawford from the Crawford Podcasting Network, our guest here on Inside the Cave.